I had a conversation with Bean last night. I first met Bean at Whole Foods, and she's not working there anymore. But she's here at the apartment building to visit her friend Mark on occasion, and I saw her last night. And Leonard, he came through the foyer and was singing Minnow's praises. I don't think he remembers that he nearly choked Minnow, and then because he took Minnow's harness off and then tied the leash around the very thin leash around Minnow's neck and then was yanking on it belligerently, and I believe in a drunken state when he was trying to get through the door. And I saw him because I was in the foyer waiting for him because he offered that he would help me by walking Minnow, but then I saw how he was walking Minnow and I'm like, good Lord, stop that right there. I was like, I said, that's not necessary, I'll take it from here. And he's like, I said, you're choking the dog. And he's like, I am not. He's very belligerent in maintaining that he was not. Well, when Leonard came down last night and I was talking with Bean in the foyer, I told her the story, like, yeah, I said, we've got to keep an eye on him because, the other day, shit, I saw how badly he abused my dog. And she had expressed that, yeah, kind of like it's a learning curve. You learn something. And I said, yeah, that's the way I thought of it too, and as partly ashamed of myself as I am because I didn't see it coming. He's always been nice when my dog's on a leash with me, and I thought the simple act of walking a dog is I didn't think it was going to involve in someone's mind taking their harness, tying the thin leash around their neck and yanking on it and choking them. That's not how I conceive walking a dog. I just didn't see it coming. And so I related with Bean, like, yeah, I take it as a learning experience for sure. And thankfully, my dog came back alive, okay, and didn't seem too traumatized. But I'm not doing that again. Well, Bean got divorced, and we were talking about a number of things, but I expressed that that was the first time I saw Leonard since he had walked the dog. Although I see that he's called me since. And I have since deleted his phone number from my contacts on my phone. I said I said I'm in a better. I'm not as angry now, but I do intend to let him know, like, my dog's off limits to you. I want him to know, it did not go down as he stated, What I'm saying is, I was expressing to Bean that I was intending to have a follow-up conversation with Leonard. Had it been directly after, I was talking to John at the time when Leonard came in with Minnow, and Leonard was not in a position to receive. He was belligerent. He kept butting into John and my conversation. We're having a conversation. He's just butting in. He's got his back turned to us. He's sitting on another little couch in the foyer and just butting in, like, loud and vocally. And it's like, well, thanks for listening in and not really. The contribution, as loud as it is, and it's meant to get attention, is so spare in actually caring to relate. It's almost as if you're Leonard's being a nuisance so that you have to relate with him. But he's doing it in such a way that it's abrasive, and it's meant to be almost to have its own built-in contriteness of, I don't know better. Yes, because I'm drunk. Therefore, that equals I could do what I want and repair the same value I start with. Drunk ass stupid. Drunk asked. So, going back to Bean. So I was telling Bean, I've not had this conversation with Leonard yet, but I intend to. And she said to me, she said, Angela, and I knew why she said it, because she divorced her husband for this reason. She said it's a generation thing. You can't tell him anything. He's not listening to you. It's a generation thing. As a female, you're not there to be listened to. Okay? You can't tell him anything. It's not going to serve you. And I realized that. I realized that through her and through her experience. I knew immediately that she was referencing her own marriage and the empty skills you get to bond with for and fork life. Okay, so I was like, okay, I guess you're right. So that said, Leonard, I don't think was drunk yesterday, but he kept passing back and forth through the foyer. At one point, there's like it's a key fob into the entrance, and then you come in through this door, and there's a gallery foyer where there's a little art room. So it's an art gallery. They've got empty walls, revolving gallery, and little seating and very economical little couches. And it's a very long rectangular room. And then you go through another key fob glass door to where the elevator is. He had played with Minnow, and Minnow was off leash, and Minnow followed him into the elevator area. He got on the elevator and he left Minnow in that glass partition. So he played with them, he engaged with Minnow, he took him through the glass door, hopped on the elevator, and kept him there. He didn't even care to let him back through the glass door where we were, in the gallery room. And I was just like, Leonard, I think you're such a bonehead. I don't think you could keep a plant alive, okay, much less a human. And you get these vet accolades and this sustenance that helps you maintain your bullshit that you ever thought of anyone, okay? It's what do I say? I apparently I don't say anything to Leonard if I want it to matter. Mater, M-A-T-E-R, M-A-T-E-R. That's mother. Duramater. Isn't that the hard shell of your brain? tough mother. Okay. But anyway, I'd have to look that up. Duramater is a hard something of some precious organ. My human anatomy informs me with a recollection that I studied it. Anyway, I thought it was interesting. She's like, it's the generation. You as a woman can't tell them anything. They're not going to hear you. And I'm like, oh, so this is it. So you've got a man and a generation that goes to war. And war tells him he has served with amour, with the desire to love and to be able to provide that. Conspire it. But for me, you can see who has wed the Tao with wart again. It's all hyphenated. You're not actually spending DOWE. There's no innocence in your manufacturing, and your ag that's hyphenated knows the value that it can, okay? So you go stand upon the hyphenated ag in the law -t. That ag has a whiff of who the ag is canned, and that is similarly hyphenated, meaning almost have to forsake an acre red doft, okay, stupid, almost have to forsake to get the same incoming trait. So you have to force a lie of, I don't know better, meaning, no one's God except God, and that equals, I don't know better, and either do you, okay? But then you can prate that you believe in innocence while, W-I-L-E, you don't care to or carry to. So that's a big problem, and it's a big problem for me in the book -t, where you basically, your ag's placing the gun, and then should you show up innocent in terms of your police officer killed my husband because he made something up, because your officer does not have the capacity to reason, nor does your officer desire it even, okay? So you go to court, and the court's going to weigh in on the officer. Well, the officer has to carry the gun because, you're not, we have no proof that you're innocent. It's nasty. It's self-perp, hyphenated, perpetrating, to position Toft, the rich person who doesn't really have merit or ethics, to stand on Doff. Stupid. Stupid even for telling you to believe in him too. To believe in Toft as being a innocent value producer. So you've got this system of having to believe that you're working for value, and because you pay with money you earned, that is your system for completion. To be the bed deserves to be the ad deserved, and you become the ag. You become the everyone gets to be a Tao with the ag and your wagon. And it's a false deference. So I've been thinking today, I've just been trying to think, well, let's think of some possibilities. Even if it were to entertain ideas, and in the idea you see how that shifts the paradigm and the dynamic. What if there was, instead of Twitter, where you tweet, it was TWHEAT and TWHITTERE. What if it was an end? What if the premise were, you buy in. I'm going to transmute your money into a big fat zero. PH, patent hat. And say on this tweet with Twitter tweet account, you got to use a branding logo for tweet with heat, with H, with no hyphens, and you could put that on your page, you know, so people know what you stand for. And then you have a visible bank account, a bank seed, SEAD, and people can reference, hey, you bought into this with your belief system and you're facing it. And couple of things, you know, could happen. One, what if, say, you wanted something and you put it out there on your shingle, and well, everyone has an honest zero in their bank seed account to begin with. One of the things you could do is barter. So if you remove it from the competitive marketplace hie-ven-t, now what is the value of the thing that you're trying to exchange to get something else? Well, it's a car versus a coat. Someone has a coat but they want a car. You have a car but you want a coat. It's up to you. I'm just using that as a starting point. What if you exchanged on zero value? Well, you could be like, well, shoot, I could buy a gazillion coats to one car, but what is the promiscuous value of asking for what you need and giving it to someone else and doing it in a forum where it's not necessarily for show, but it's not necessarily not for show, that others see? Wow, you met that person's need, that makes me feel good. That you start to see that exchanging and standing on the premise of zero, an honest zero to start, innocence and reflection, you know, asking for what you need, or, you know, and receiving, you know, that you're starting and sparking the genesis of creation. To be honestly, even honestly leavened by what you leave. Okay. Money in the competitive marketplace is a farce. You can never honestly make up your arse. Okay. That you never honestly imparted. Okay. With MVP as yourself because you wanted it as well. So I don't know. So I'm kind of a little bored today. Before I started the video, I was talking about every once in a while during this healing process, I hit a day where I'm like, oh, I can't take it anymore in my head. You know, I'm just kind of bored. Kind of numbed a little bit with sitting still. And so, you know, I'm trying to think about a turning point. You don't want a turning point, Rich? You want to just keep your premise hidden? Does that make you feel more comfortable? Just putting ideas out there to... This is what I find with problems. Change the paradigm. Even if you just do it in your brain, what you see is you start seeing through what's necessary. So the paradigm I was suggesting is, imagine a tweet account. Imagine, you're buying into, because you're deciding. You're deciding even. You're going to buy into the prosperity, the generous prosperity of lending what the ag has already given. And so then from there you get to find your own way, even. Premise here, you don't have a conversation with a gun. Please understand that any job out there is hyphenated. Its genesis is a man thirsted to be a stag, the first stag ag, okay? To gear the earth that Tao with war universally is necessary to restore Tao with war, and it's done on doft. It's done on stupid to get toft, rich, for no reason, thiefin', and what else? Oh yes, the merry song and dong of doing it for go odd. So in your law, -t, it's for God, it's for the people under God. Well, may I suggest your people under God don't really matter yet? Now, either they love being self-serve stupid over and over again because they are stupid and prefer the income and thus the outcome, but or they're part and parcel of this process of thievery. So I feel that religion helps stupid to conceive stupid as necessary. Your competitive marketplace thiefing does not give you a choice no matter what it says. It does not give you an honest choice and does not give you an honest fact. To tact, tool, lend, your bed, okay? Or to have lead, every LB pound be your bed. So by what you've been. And your money is backed in time, thine, hin, hind, okay? It's all hyphenated. The first person speaking was dudes, okay? To go to war, to protect not your virtue and not theirs, because they never lent it here, okay? So by backing it up to then, there, okay, to BS spoken for -d, the date to repair, they're casting it for rewar -d. That war is the reward, but it's on your virtuous head. And I'm saying your virtuous head has always been here. So you need to understand the system is not here to support you. Your law -t is based on Tao with war wages, and so is your hyphenated job, okay? It's always been hyphenated. So it seems to me we need to see that. There's never been an honest choice, no matter what you say. You say there's choice because you would like to think, malfeasantly together, hyphenated, that you have provided the way for the common era. All you've done is you've masked it better, hyphenated. So you're still in a container read doft to toft, for no reason thievin' is all that you brought. Your bro and your bow height off the tree that's also hyphenated in the competitive marketplace, with no ability to actually lead or be lead with any honest stability. If you did it honestly, your stable table, you would have no income, okay? Because you're all standing on doft, stupid. You don't have any honest news. You have go ag hyphen parentheses on hyphen, O hyphen, O hyphen, O hyphen, O hyphen, O hyphen. Ag goose that was hyphenated because your judge is not the heir, okay? So he's not lending a real character witness to be here nor there, okay? And it's, you calling that news? What's a noose? It's a neck and neck noose. So all you got then is you've got seen stealing and a theater of the ab sire hyphen d. I sired red, okay, to get it hyphenated black, you know, so you're just rebating. Who's it bat? No, I'm it, but it's hyphenated. So competitive marketplace is not giving you an honest choice, and you need to step up if you don't want to be on NIT, N-I-T, okay? Simple as that is. For me, what I see is that there needs to be a platform for exchange. So you don't have to look at the hyphenated bullshitters anymore. And then you can start working your own economy with people that believe in your desire to just be. Okay? And it's about, I would say, honing your awareness and your ability to have and thus shave your boundaries. This is what I am, this is what I'm not, you know, and have sustainability in doing that. So I'm trying to think in this downtime, I'm trying to think about the medium of experience. It's the container. It's the container of desire, of wanting to, by, being to, and thus through, and watching it occur. No different than what you're seeing in the competitive marketplace. You're seeing the snake. You're seeing in a hyphenated sake and snake asking someone else to rebate. It. And be it bat. But, I mean, to me, it would be sweet relief not to have to watch the rebate every fucking day, okay? Make the same hyphenated mistake. To end, and doffed, to two toffs, a tear, rep and reap, pate, play, and pate. Okay? To stare, I asked my mate. Well, honestly, you shouldn't have been speaking in the first place. Hie-ven-t, to two toft. Dow with war to ag gain. Go odd, doft. Okay. Your God is stupid as stupid is. Okay? You've got stupid making up God. That God is stupid. The people that keep proclaiming doths testate because they're on the income receiving end of it, I do think they know better. I think they know very well. That's why they pipe up pip and prig height, because that helps bring some sort of consultation fee, I'm talking to someone else. I come from a lineage of talking to someone else. To give it any regard, I do think they know better, and it's not honest to start. So understand that you're always going to be at a loss on the law-t, on a lot. The lot's tossing time to go, Daoth war under the people of God, where God is instructing Daft to be Daft and gets paid sustainably, okay? Through every fucking stage of his life. Just go ask Leonard in my building, okay? What are you talking about? I served! You can't tell me anything else! What did you fucking serve? I don't know, whatever gets me a free meal, and I can tell you, I like your breasts in the elevator. Okay. I'm rectifying that also. Just thought he was a nice man who didn't know better. Like, no, you don't get to talk about my body parts anymore. You don't get to put your name on that as your amour. That you adored red, hyphenated, to get it, to re-add date of birth to be blacked, hyphenated. And the means to your end to ask sacred, you can see it. You can see who's asking each other, okay? It's done snakedly so that to rectify what you've already screwed the you to do, which is dudes, hyphenated. That's all, okay? You're just bending the ligature for what you've already conceived and conceded. Doft is preferable to your income. Just ask Kevin Stein at PTE, Precision Tool and Engineering in Kittery. He has the daily bread in his foyer. Yet he has to keep the lowest common denominator, Joel Heisler, in his employment, even if he's stoned, toked on a lathe, supported by Will Miles, because they toke together. Now, you don't have to take my word for it. Ask Jeff Boudreau, because he saw it and informed Kevin Stein. Kevin Stein, when I went to Maine Human Rights for whistleblowing, Kevin Stein enabled his ag friend, his Jewish ag friend, Michael Messerschmidt from Portland, to say that I demanded that those two get fired. That never happened. In fact, I didn't know two dudes were involved. All I know is that's not safety in the shop for anyone. For someone to be on a lathe spinning miles per hour cutting metal, okay? And there were other people that spoke to Kevin. Kevin did not enlist their income for him to determine that he was going to fire me. So none of this went to Maine Human Rights. He just called his ag friend. They made up whatever they wanted. They didn't include whatever would make them seem they didn't quest honestly. All the while, Kevin Stein is telling me we don't have proof. Yet in an employee meeting, which they have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I bring it to the attention of everyone, and Will Miles, before I even finish my sentence, before I even begin the first few words of it, he's already casting shade on me that he can't believe this, and he turns his back on me with the pallet jack and pretends to like pump it like I've got some real work to do. Well, his real work was provided by me because that company was in the red until I very prodigiously had them meet their order of frames. They had order for 100 frames that year. They had completed about 30, possibly 35 before I worked there in the last month and a half. It was November, so approximately 2 months, I completed the remainder. As a painter that also learned how to drive two fork trucks, did shipping and receiving, while the paint was drying, I cut metal parts for the welder, I deburred, I deslagged. I took over someone's job to deslag a chip, anything from the framing, wipe them down and prep for painting. So that was somebody else's job, plus cutting parts, deburring, and TIG welding. Oh, and cleaning. Yeah, I also cleaned. Okay. And they were in the red. They couldn't get a loan because on those frames, they got paid in cash, $1,000 on receipt. And I was putting out at least 4 a week, okay? 4 being delivered. But capacity would be more like 6 that I could get done a week. So Will Miles gets a new CNC machine, a computer operated in a machine shop. You've got the machines that you can manually cut to drill and whatnot, but then you have a CNC machine where you digitize the program and it's going to change the tools and it's going to know the order, and it's great for mass production. So Will Miles gets Kevin Stein bought him that machine with my efforts. He was finally able to get a loan. And Jeff Boudreau informs Kevin, hey, I saw them toking in the back, okay, parking lot. Kevin, the Christian, who told me when I said, hey, these guys he's smoking weed. He's freshly toked back from, workers' compensation. So Joel Heisler did something no other machinist has done in the shop. He found a bar. He stuck it in a machine and jumped up and down on it and then toppled over on his elbow. Okay. And then he feigned that nerve damage, and so he didn't come to work for, I don't know, weeks, months. And Kevin Stein's in communication with Workman's Comp, and there's this whole conversation in the workshop that, Kevin wants to fire Joel legitimately, and he's working with someone in Workman's Comp that knows that Joel Heisler does not take planned time off. So as a new employee, I was instructed to take time off, you have to fill out paperwork. Well, I filled out the paperwork and then Kevin Stein fired me. All right. Joel Heisler, it was in 2 years, has never filled out paperwork to take time off. That's also being used against me in the way that Kevin Stein and his ag, Michael Messerschmidt, worded that I was desiring to take indefinite time off. No, I put the stated time that I wanted off, although I may call to extend it. I was not intending to take forever off of my job. Rather, I'm insinuating that Kevin Stein and Michael Messerschmidt are and were always to be perpetually on vacation from doing real work. Kevin Stein cannot step off his lowest common denominator. And if it's me against his lowest common denominator in that machine shop, Joel Heisler, enabled by Will Miles, who received the merit of my work, okay, to get that company out of the red into the black to get a new machine, you can see who's going to get the axe, and then what is their story going to play? War was necessary. Yes, it was necessary on Kevin Stein's daily bread and his fucking foyer. Okay? You guys could go to PTE, Precision Tool and Engineering in Kittery, and pick up your own leaflet and shake the snake that put it there for you to conceive that he believes in NIT. N-I-T. You have two dudes. So you had two dudes before. That was Will Miles talking with Joel Heisler. Now, the curious thing, when I say dude is choked on a lathe, then I ask other dudes in the machine shop, will you check my nose? And they're like, yeah, he's choked. Guys in a machine shop know what weeds smell like. I assure you. Okay. Okay. What else? So you have two dudes that are enabling this behavior. I am told by Kevin Stein that when I say he's toked, he tells me he does not have proof, but yet everyone he consorts is 2 by 2 dudes. So you've got Will Miles backing up Joel Heisler, and those are the only testimonies that Kevin Stein sought. And then Kevin Stein, as a dude, hyphenated, spoke with Michael Messerschmidt, the ag here in Portland, Maine, also a dude. So now you've got two dudes, hie-ven-t, also talking, that are putting words in my mouth. She demanded that I fire them both. I did not know it was both. Jeff Boudreau informed you it was both. It wasn't me. Yet you forgot that little detail when you were speaking with Michael Messerschmidt. And put it in writing now, didn't you? What else? What the fuck? She demanded. She did not know the involvement. What she did know, because she was working in the grinding room, which is separate from the machine area of the shop. When she asked Scott and George to check her nose, and she got a thumbs up, and she went back to the grinding room to do her work, and then she went back out into the machine shop and, you know, asked what's up from Scott. Scott said, I don't know who you talked to, or etc., but it traveled like wildfire through the machine shop. Will went over to talk to Joel, and he shut the conversation down. So it never went to the owner, Kevin Stein. I'm like, really? I'm like, pfft. And Scott told me, Scott goes, yeah, I guess, you know, they just decided they weren't going to talk about it. I'm like, I've got a grant. You've given me a grant to go to school, to night school. So I'm working around the clock in a machine shop. If I'm not working around the clock in a machine shop, I commute 13 hours a week, and then I go to night school in another state, in New Hampshire. Okay, 8 hours a week. What I'm doing with my free time, I'm trying to make up on my recommended daily allowance of sleep because I'm not getting enough. And this is not OSHA approved. It's not safety approved, and this is bullshit. If you think I should conduct myself graciously while you're setting me up, as with anyone else. The dodo over there on a spinning lathe might accidentally leave a chalk in it, and then it's going to go flying, and at that speed it's going to warp and crack someone's skull, and I have to assure you there's no apology good enough, okay, for you forecasting the need of stupidity because you're standing on it. There's, you know, seriously, fuck your smarmy Jesus Christ face, all right? You didn't make tear weight, honestly, to date. What else? So you have two dudes talking to each other, fictionally making shit up, passing it off to Maine Human Rights. I have to explain myself over and over again to Maine Human Rights with every fucking permutation of a question, you know, that's supplemented by the ag, the authority of the land, that's hyphenated, that I don't get to stand square by being right here, as with anywhere, as with heir-d. Very selective in the information they use to peruse their question. Phrasing and framing, and it's done on purpose. It's done on purpose. I'm not the heir, but I really care. I'm saying, you're not the heir. Stop fucking around as if you are, and you don't really care. Okay, and your relationship is a sham. Your kids, they rest on your shame. Your business is vain, V-A-I-N, and you have no value to proclaim. You're stupid as you scam and schemed. Okay. Debt. To give it ta and law with he ate, with weight, with hyphenated he ate. He ate at the time that you made on my face. And then tell me I don't have proof when you can only speak to two dudes to get it through. -W-E-D. Debt to ask you, and screw and skew you, that you wed hyphen also. So let me tell you about the inner workings at PTE, Precision Tool and Engineering in Kittery, Maine. That's very close to Portsmouth, Maine, where there's a naval station, and you load in young people barely out of their teen years with a gun. Think about how trigger happy they are. I've got sustainability. Bam, bam. Okay, great. And they get praises from the top down for the president. You're doing a good job. Put some hyphens in that. Blessed be. That you're only all dumbfucked so you could keep sustaining your gratuitousness, -T. So you've got Jill the accountant in there. So I was the first woman hired to actually work in the machine shop, part of the machine shop, actually making things with machines and learning that trade. Jill's an accountant. Jill has, she's got to take pills for something. I only know this because I did not have insurance at the time, and I've never had insurance, which is quite ironic because the first year I got it, this year I've used it a lot. I've used it for an iron IV in the cancer ward because that's where they give it, because I was very anemic, didn't know it, just thought I needed to take more naps. And so my period didn't stop while I was working at PTE. That's where it first started. And it started right after I asked Kevin Stein I wanted to take Fridays off. Because prior to being officially hired, I was told that I could work the hours that I wanted. So, with the heat off of producing that 100 frame order by the end of the year, I'm like, you know what? I've met my needs. I've pitched in for the company. I've risen to the occasion to get that order out. But I want time for myself. And time for myself, if you throw in my commute hours, basically I live, work, and driving and sleeping. That's all I do while I'm in the reins of the work cycle. I would prefer 3 days off to myself. Well, he said no because it would make someone else jealous. Now, that's very sorely indicative also. Dick tooth, okay? It's hyphenated. I'm going to make you, the louse, jealous of my desire you don't want. You don't even want for your fucking wife? Okay, so let's get that damn straight. My desire is not yours. All right? And it never was. You're not here to oversee my estate, my gestate, my guest estate. It is quite the reverse. What else? Yes, didn't want to make other people jealous. I'm like, what other people? Do they not have the same right as me to work the hours they want? I mean, why are you telling me that I can work the hours that I want, and then when I ask for it, you say no? And I really only asked because I needed it. My soul did. I don't need to work 24/7 forever for no reason. Thief end, okay? No, really don't need to. I'm of the age where, I've got a comfortable little pad, and I've got a bed, I've got a couch. Didn't always have those things, right? I don't need an excess amount. What I want is I want my time. And what else? So yes, you see the insinuations. Kevin Stein should not be speaking for my time as if he provided the tin and tine and thine hin hind. He didn't, okay? He malfeasantly goes to church to reward himself for being the shirk and jerk, okay? Hyphenated. Hope you had a nice Thanksgiving, Kevin Stein. As you raise the hyphenated glass, G-lass, hyphenated to your wife, who fed and feed slices of slice and lice, doff, tone, nice. I'm not nice. And what you need to understand about that is honey's never honestly been made, okay? So when you've got shirk and jerk, sure can the hand, hyphenated, jerk, hyphen-t, toft, to put toft, exceptionally. acting smarmy because he's polite, he's not earned that value. He's not earned his value honestly with anyone. What he did with one is drop kicked one out of his shop. Okay. So we could keep hopping fortuitously. bi-g-o-t. Bigot, big, go at, goat head. Okay, don't you think that's part of what the law is doing? I can't tackle the law because of all the revs, okay, the revisions that are never ending, that it's just, it's too overwhelming for some people. And I'm saying it's hyphenated bullshit. BU, where you put a large amount of something, L over L, that's hyphenated. Your time as a value, EW, EAD, you've never lent the Dow. You never bend the bed to endow. So you're endowing artificial E hyphen parentheses WE hyphen I hyphen D hyphen. So with the U and the we is the EID, the oath and the feast. It's artificial. Your prime movers are not because they desired to be there, alas, here. It's because they're stupid. And I don't care how much you glorify them, they're still stupid because they're earning the income by, and thus the outcome, by standing on doft. That their money was fortuitously and virtuously brought. Wasn't. You never gave virtue, okay? You're just forward and forging hyphenated to speak for the U, EWE, in the law hyphen T. This ag right here is speaking for the RAM. Form and foram. Amen. Okay. Dow with each, D-O-W, parentheses E, A. Each a agon, wagon. To goose and noose. All the way back to, all those zeros back to S-E-I-D. S-E, parentheses W-E-I-D. So I was talking about the inner workings. My period stopped. It started and it didn't stop after I asked for time off, which I needed. Because I was being divided between my work that I was already doing online, which Kevin Stein knew about. It's also why he fired me, because I dared to think for myself on my own time. So, understand a couple of things. Kevin Stein never investigated Joel Heisler. What Joel Heisler does in Joel Heisler's free time, contact any of Joel Heisler's comedian friends and talk about the snort and crack and cocaine and all the drugs floating around, okay? Go find out what Joel Heisler does on his free time, because what I do on my free time is also being used against me. And Joel Heisler has a constant conversation in the machine shop about drug use. If it's not the parties he goes to and all the drugs there, it's about his big bong he got for Christmas and that he carries in his truck. Okay? And what else? It's nonstop. That never was investigated by Kevin Stein, yet Kevin Stein used what I do on my free time because because what I'm doing does not include him as a value. Do you understand how narcissistic that is to pose and prime yourself as being the person that would think of Jesus Christ and God to be among us? Is so narcissistic that he will not allow me to sustainably think freely for myself on my own time. Okay. I suggest that root has that in common with every man. Among you, Jew, you, glue. W-E-ed, that you wed. Dow with wort again. The ag has provided me to think without honest amends, and always be able to front the compass. Compassion, compass, I sit on the stone and tone, hie-ven-t. Nay, I eat hie-ven-t, and I go to church, because I'm doing my best. I bet for the hie-ven-t, okay? You can see that very well with Kevin Stein's actions, that he would do this on his own, okay? So he fired me when I was taking time off, which I filled out the paperwork for. He didn't let anyone else in the shop know. And then when I called, because I got the email, like, okay, I've been terminated, and I called because I have stuff there. He's like, don't come here because I'm going to call the cops on you. We'll mail you your stuff. What he was trying to do is he was trying to, he did not want me to communicate with any of the other workers that value me, and actually expressed to Kevin Stein to hire me. Hire her. She is a good worker. Let's talk about the brains of Kevin Stein, about his previous painters. He hired a painter that sat. He was so fat, he sat in a chair to paint frames that are about 4 feet by 5 feet, about 3 feet high. You can't roll around on a chair like that, okay? To me, that's expressing you don't really know much about your goddamn business. You hired a painter who's fat and that sat. Fuck. Seriously? And your business has been in the red. I get it in the black. And then you keep the enablers, okay? that would hyphenate bullshit, because to have your back in black hyphenated, because that is your back. to pass for reward, -d, okay? Jill in accounting has to take drugs, I think, for depression. You know, there were other, I don't know, melodies, okay? And I only know this because, you know, it's been somewhat of an eye-opener. I've not always worked in a corporate world or for other people. When I worked at Trader Joe's, I also very blatantly didn't take their insurance. I needed to get orthotics, and their insurance didn't provide for orthotics. And I went to Dr. Pomeroy here, who's one of the well-known surgeons for reconstructing arches, and he uses pig bone. And so he's leading a way of innovative foot surgery. And anyway, it took me once I booked the appointment with him, it was still several months out, and cost of custom orthotics is $1,000 plus. You know, so I'm buying orthotics that are customized to my foot to build an arch, because my arches have fallen. And Trader Joe's did not provide that. You work all day on a concrete floor, and they do not provide insurance for orthotics. So at Trader Joe's, $9 an hour. They don't want you working overtime, so 35 hours. $9 an hour times 35. I could not afford to have a place to eat and a car, so I docked my car, a place to sleep, and my car. And I didn't know that I qualified for food stamps, which is ironic. So it took me a while to understand that while working at Trader Joe's, that their pay rate qualifies me for food stamps. I work at a grocery store, and they pay me sufficiently to qualify for food stamps. And what else? So I didn't take their insurance because it was $60 a month. So you do $9 an hour times 35 hours a week minus 60 out of that month. Not knowing about food stamps, that's just taking too much. That's just taking, you're not cutting close to the bone, you're cutting the bone, okay? And that was really nefarious. Tracy Atiola from Boston, from Massachusetts, she came up here as the captain. The captain of Trader Joe's gets to select the starting pay rate. Boston was earning more. I think it was at least 11, if not 13. And she chose 9 for Maine. There were 3,000 applications and 100 hires, and I was one of them. And it was a new format store. It was their first big one. There's a lot of room here in Maine. And you know, there's still a lot that's not right about that. Basically, Tracy sold us the value that they valued us, but she really just used us to fast track to a headquarter hierarchy so she could earn more money without ever really paying an honest price. My run-ins with her have already documented. Back to Jill. Jill, the only other female in PTE, Precision Tool Engineering in Kittery, Maine. She needs drugs, insurance. I was asked if I wanted insurance. I couldn't see a reason for it at the time. I've always lived without it, so I'm suggesting for her, the pills she needs for her depression that keep her in the reins of going to work at PTE pretty much are solidifying the need. The fact that she works there makes her have the need, okay? It's self-serving as you want to be. If you asked me without eschewing me to the means, T-H-E-M-E. Okay? That seeked and sneaked. S-N, the no-name tin, and money. Okay? To be. K-T, kit and tit, to be. Hyphenated. Bed doffed. Bed doffering. Bed doffed of the doff. Stupid doffering. One of the interesting things is Joel Heisler had the option to speak honestly. So understand this. I'm put in the position when I speak to Kevin Stein, he says he has no proof, relegating that he thinks he is the purveyor and conveyor of freedom of choice. Yet Will Miles never obviously stated, yeah, I was talking with Joel Heisler and back, just as Jeff Boudreau said to you. Will Miles never offered honest proof of roof, and neither did Joel Heisler. Okay? There's not one person in that machine shop that doesn't know Joel Heisler goes missing whimsically all the time for years because he's done a drug binge the night before and can't make it to work. Okay? There is not one person that doesn't know that about Joel Heisler. And yet, Joel Heisler did not provide proof of roof to Kevin Stein. He combined with Will. So Will sets Joel Heisler up to be the shill. Okay? There's a guy, Sam Shield, in there. He sets him up to cover his ass as asked, an asset, okay? All hyphenated. Will is not, he's not providing, he's only providing impasse, okay? To be the tin in time that he would have. Well, the fact is he has wooed a woman and they've already had a child. I'm sure it was a drunken lay, okay? And that's the way it's going to stay, all right? He already has a kid. He would rather sacrifice my value from ever being made so that he could keep his drunken lay in place and keep her asking him, well, what should we do with the Korean conflict? I suggest you go screw yourselves again, okay? To make your same amens again. How about that? How about that hat? Hat and tat. Maybe you could have a conversation with Kevin Stein about your next pay, pate, and plate raise. For no reason, thiefing all the time. I'm a dime. I'm a dime. I'm a diamond. I don't know better. Thiefing. All I do is take care of the baby in the home. Hie-ven-t. And that suits me just fine. Hie-ven-t. Okay. Right, Chloe? Chloe is the birth mother of both Will Miles' son and himself. Okay, so understand who's backing the with he hyphen all hyphen th hyphen d. Healed and Hild, the same hyphenate. You know who's backing it, all right? So. I have no proof with when I speak, and Kevin Stein only has 2 dudes, okay? Hyphenated. Anytime I give him time, it's turned into Dow with War that he would add dudes and call that dues. Dues and hues that are also hyphenated, and all fictional to be able to tread, TB, trial balance, tread and bread on. So, it's sustained by allowing no one to be the heir. And it's not a judicial humbleness, okay? To cause stare. And that's what Kevin Stein is doing when he employs the ag, the Jewish ag, Michael Messerschmitt. He's causing reason to stare, but it's bereft of reason. And I'm saying it's done on purpose, okay? Hie-ven-t. And Kevin Stein does not love his wife, even. And his kids are bastards because you're existing on fraudulent income. That he would have you believe in him. To only screw on my end that I would never meet the time I'm giving. Kevin Stein's daughters, he's got a couple of them. I know one of them's in theater. Consider it founded on the theater of the heir-d. Absurd, okay? Aspired, assired, all right? It's all hyphenated.